Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So guys, this is a storyline that we have been following all the way through, and we will follow it to the bitter end. So it is a war without end, no retreat, no surrender. It is not over till the fat lady sings. All of the invectives are in play, all of the idioms, all of the cliches. I am of course speaking to the Atiku Abubakar and the Buhari narrative. Guys, I bring you this. Atiku files 70-point appeal at Supreme Court against tribunal ruling. So that's the headline. Atiku files 70-point appeal at the Supreme Court against tribunal ruling. So of course, as expected, Atiku has gone to court to appeal this judgment, and that it would have been statute barred by Wednesday, but of course he has given himself sufficient time, so he's gone in with his appeal. So now let's go into exactly what's going on here. Atiku Abubakar, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in the last general election, really means business to overturn the verdict of the Presidential Elections Petition Tribunal (PEPT) that confirmed President Buhari's re-election. According to reports, lawyers of Atiku have concluded plans to file a 70-point appeal at the Supreme Court on Monday, September the 23rd, 2019, to beat Wednesday's deadline. So apparently the appeal has not been filed yet, and it wouldn't have been, of course, because this is a weekend, but they are, of course, have the paperwork ready to be submitted at the Supreme Court as early as possible, I imagine, on Monday. So that's what's been said. One of Atiku's lawyers is quoted to have said, "We will file latest Monday, September the 23rd, and at most, due to any unforeseen reason, by September the 24th. Bear in mind that the deadline for submission is Wednesday. We won't file on Wednesday for tactical reasons." According to the source, one of the 70 grounds of appeal is that the judgment of the PEPT was based on the facts. The judgment was not on the issues presented to the Court of Appeal Presidential Tribunal by the petitioner, especially in relation to the respondent's academic qualifications. Take, for instance, one of the respondent's witnesses, Major General Paul Tafa, called by President Buhari's lawyers, said that they did not give their qualifications to the military board. Tafa's testimony is against the claim by Buhari that the military is in possession of his certificates. Secondly, Buhari said he was recruited into the military in 1961, and Tafa said in 1962. So what is the correct date of his recruitment into the army? Somebody is not telling the truth. The issue in question is who entered the different grades for him from both the Cambridge and the West African School certificate results. This is the first time that the court will say that the documents are admitted in the interest of justice. So who entered the different grades for him, and if he did, why? One of the grounds of appeal is that the President's Chief of Staff, Abba Kwari, brought the Cambridge documents dated July 18 and testified on July 20th. The point here is that it was not pleaded when the respondent replied to the petitions of Atiku. So, speaking as in point of law, you don't speak on documents not pleaded. The WAEC documents contradicted the Cambridge documents. This is a case of forgery, inconsistent in documents. The lawyer added, on the INEC server, the judgment of the PEPT said INEC's server was hacked, and we then asked which of the servers was hacked. The tribunal judgment was based on the Electoral Act section 52(1)b, but this aspect of the law has since been deleted in 2015. So now, actually, what they are hinging a lot of their judgment on was a law that is no longer on the statute books. So a deleted law apparently is what these allegedly senior judges are using to adjudicate the most important case in Nigeria at the moment, if not in the history of the country. This is the laughable territory that we're in, but we carry on. This was the case in Wike versus Peterside. If the judgment said INEC's server was recklessly hacked, then there is a server and therefore a criminal offense. Yet INEC did not claim so, or that its documents were stolen. How come the judge reached this scandalous decision? So again, we have to pause there. So now the judge is saying that although I didn't reach the judgment but obviously these are the points of appeal, so obviously they must be in the judgment for them to be appealing against it. So apparently the judges or the judge or one of the judges or the entirety of the panel are saying that INEC's server was recklessly hacked, but then INEC is not saying that they have a server. In fact, they are denying that they do have a server, nor are they claiming that that documents were stolen. So how can you then, as a judge, infuse into a case an allegation that is not there? INEC has said that they don't have a server. So which server then are these judges claiming was recklessly hacked? So you can see now when people say this is like a kangaroo system, that panel, you can see now why people are off that thought, because this is just it's scandalous as they've described it here. There's no other word that sums it up other than scandalous. It's a real scandal and outrage. It's just almost unbelievable. But let me not rant because I need to read this to you fully. But it does, it jars you sometimes. It jars me, and I'm sure it jars you. Let me just carry on. If Section 52(1)(b) is no longer in existence, how come the lead judgment came to this decision? It was not based on the documents pleaded. Therefore, how come it was decided so? That means that the judge went on a voyage of discovery and exploration. Buhari was not accused of forgery. Rather, he was accused of lying when he said the army was in possession of his documents. In his Form CF-001, he presented an affidavit instead of his certificates. PEPT relied on the CV presented. We are asking, is that supposed to be so? CV is basically to show working experience, no primary school certificate. The judgment was based on inferences. The judge simply inferred. So again, we need to pause there for a moment again, because really we need to reflect on some of these things so we don't lose them in the chain of just reading them out. So you have to really focus now on what they're saying here. The first thing they are saying is that, look, we did not accuse him of forgery, although that forgery element came later, but what they are accusing him of is lying in the affidavit that he swore as a part of the academic certification, as part of the form filling for qualifying to run for the presidency. Effectively, they are accusing him of lying on that affidavit. So now the focus of that court is to focus on the matters in front of them, not to go, as has been described, on an expedition, because you don't have to go searching. You are not Sherlock Holmes, you are not a detective Babatunde or whatever, or detective Gaba. You are not there to do detective work. You are there to peruse the information and the documentation and the application that is in front of you and apply law to it. That is really the sole function of a judge. A judge is not to go outside of what has been presented to him, to infer from outside and then apply it to a case when something has not been presented to him to consider. So they are giving consideration to this guy's CV. I can write on my CV that I am the Sultan of Brunei, the President of the United States, and the Pope, all in one. I can write it. I am not, but I can write it in my CV. Anybody can write anything in a CV, and every CV is embellished. So it is not your job to look to this guy's CV and then pick from there and say that he's eminently qualified, or however they termed it. No. That's not what's been required of you. What they are requiring of you is that this affidavit that this chap has submitted as part of his application to run for the presidency contains a lie. So now that is now what you have been asked to look at, because if you go outside of that, then you can go anywhere really. You can, I mean, it's just ludicrous. Let me focus on it again and then we just finish it off. we are surprised that the PEPT went the way it did. It is our view that the judges would have gone further to help improve our electoral laws, as well as use it to commence the reform of electoral laws. So these are some of the issues that form the grounds of the 70-point appeal at the Supreme Court. So that is a summary now of what Atiku Abubakar's team are going to be presenting to the Supreme Court probably today now, because you should be watching this on Monday. So there's just really one or two items really. So if they're having like a 70 point strong appeal, then this will just be a teaser from it, and I'm sure they've still got a few other big hitters as points being made to the Supreme Court to consider. So now this is now where we are now. But then of course we have Justice Tanko as the Chief Justice of Nigeria now, because of course we know that Walter Onnoghen has been removed. So we have Justice Tanko there now, who has been confirmed as the substantive Chief Justice of Nigeria now. But we're still hoping that justice will be done. Certainly a complete marked departure from what we had at the Electoral Petition Tribunal, which was just like a farce. It was a comedy of errors. So press restart and start all over again is effectively what this appeal is all about. But your thoughts is what I am interested in. Conversations in the comment section. But guys, before you come have a conversation with me, I have a second channel which I am starting, which is for more light-hearted, more lifestyle, more, I wouldn't say so much show business, but a lighter tone. So I have that second channel. I'm going to put the link in the description, in the comment section or whatever. I'll put the link in the description, I would say. Yes, I'll put the link in the description. So I need your support on that one as well. I need to get at least 1,000 subscribers quickly so I can hit some YouTuber targets, and of course I can always rely on you guys for support. So come support me there. Then once you've done that, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. The bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Then come have a chat with me about the Atiku appeal in the comment section. So I'll leave you here. Join you in the comment section, but here I say peace.